Assassin's Creed Shadows is a weird game. Ubisoft have been trying to appeal to both the old fans and fans of the new RPG format, and this is their second attempt at it. Mirage was more like the traditional style Assassin's Creed games with some RPG elements, but Shadows is the opposite now with two playable characters. One that's good at stealth and plays like you'd expect an Assassin's Creed character to play like, and one that's all action and no subtlety, so one character for each type of fan. I was pretty hyped for this game for a long time as I love samurai stuff, and I liked the previous game even though Mirage had its issues. So after 50 long hours, I finally finished Assassin's Creed Shadows, so here's the good, the bad, and the ugly of the newest entry to the franchise. Starting off with the good, and what I liked is the gameplay. Right off the bat, the combat, movement, and stealth in this is a lot better than in Mirage. Now with sprints, flips, rolls, dives, and the newest addition, she can go prone. All of these movements you can string together back to back, and it feels very smooth and fluid. The assassinations are quicker, so it's a big step up and solves a few issues I had with AC Mirage already. Parkour is also improved, but it's not perfect. She gets stuck getting on top of stacked objects or climbing to higher positions. Yes, I know the animations, parkour, and assassinations in Unity and other AC games are faster and more fluid than this game, but I've long accepted that, we won't see that type of quality again. These animations though seem to focus more on style than speed compared to previous games, and I'm actually okay with that. But the main thing here is that she is fun. Next is combat. Again, a step up from Mirage because there's a bit more variety in your moveset with the new abilities, 12 skill trees, and there's parrying, dodging, and blocking. Naoe has this death by 1,000 cuts type of playstyle. She's the stealthy one. She only has a few weapon types, but a lot more tools like smoke bombs, kunai, and eagle vision, leaning more towards that traditional Assassin's Creed type of gameplay. Yasuke, on the other hand, is all about fighting, and he's a lot more brutal. He has more weapons at his disposal and can tank a lot more damage, so if stealth isn't your thing, then Yasuke is for you. Honestly, there's so many different abilities and moves you can unlock for each weapon type, and then the characters' passives themselves. I found it a bit overwhelming, so I stuck to the moves I could remember and my favorite weapon types, but there's enough variety for people to choose their preferred playstyle with the weapons they like, and because it is an RPG, the weapons and armors have stats on top of the massive skill tree. So you can make some broken builds when you unlock upgrading and different traits in the late game. And that's it for what I liked. Now for the bad, and the first thing is going to be the game design. Because this is trying to appeal to two different sides of the fan base, and they enjoy completely different things, the game takes this open structure approach to everything. You can do whatever you want, when you want, including missions. You can play missions in any order you want with your preferred character. The game almost never forces you to do anything or play a specific way. And while this does sound good because it promotes player freedom, doing whatever you want, I think the lack of a traditional linear and structured mission design ends up hurting the game more than helping it in a lot of ways. And yes, there are two main characters, but one is more of a main character than the other. Exploration, for example. Naoe gets the parkour. She controls light and agile. She runs, climbs, and vaults faster than Yasuke, but she also is the only one who gets the grappling hook. Which means there's some observation towers you can only unlock by playing Naoe. Which means if you main Yasuke, you'll need to swap characters to get that tower, and you have to reload the game every time you switch characters. Now Yasuke's combat is fun. He's supposed to be big, brutal, and powerful. You can bust through doors and knock down enemies by running into them. But as a result, outside of combat, he feels very clunky and heavy, and because the control's so clunky, when running around you bump into stuff, triggering this passive knockdown attack. So exploration just feels better with Naoe. Now, this is the fourth RPG game in the franchise, and still, they're missing the most basic quality of life features you'd find in an RPG. With all the loot they throw at you, there is no option to lock your favorite items so you don't delete or sell them by accident. Speaking of deleting, there's also no mass deletion or sell option either. There was one until they dropped a patch and then it was removed. But the most upsetting thing is loadouts aren't available from the start. You have to unlock the ability to save loadouts in an RPG. The observation towers don't clear fog of war now either. They just reveal points that you can go to. Clearing towers should clear the fog and reveal everything. I get they're trying to promote exploring like in other RPG games, but this isn't a good solution. It just felt like an extra unnecessary step, that made exploration a bit tedious. And since we're on the topic of tediousness, unfortunately, that's going to be the gameplay loop. After 20 hours, you've experienced all the game has to offer, and it gets extremely repetitive. There's a new scout feature. You choose a mission, they'll give you 3 hints on where to find the objective, and you place scouts on the map of where you think that is. If you guess wrong and use up all of them, you have to buy more scouts in the safe house or go and question NPCs near that area to reveal the objective. Then you go to that spot, hold R2 and look around for a green dot, and then go there, and that's how you start missions. It's the most insane padding to a game I've seen. Just so they can say that this game is 50 hours. It's a waste of time and not fun. I'd rather they just put an objective on the map when I select a mission. Now imagine doing this for all of the missions on this board. And lastly, there is actually no mission variety. You do the exact same thing for every mission. It's just go here and kill these targets. Remember, I said the game doesn't force you to do anything, so this is the result. There is no missions that require you to play a certain way, like be stealthy or follow an NPC without being caught. It's just always go here, fight and kill whoever's there. And it's not fun. The only reason I had fun was because I forced myself to play stealthy and try not to alert anyone. So all the missions feel repetitive and like a chore after 20 hours because there's no stakes. You can't do anything wrong and fail a mission unless you die. And there's a lot of missions, like an overwhelming amount of content. It got to the point it felt like I'm just ticking boxes off a giant checklist. I'll be honest, the only reason I didn't drop this game is because I made it 30 hours in and said I might as well see it to the end. And now we're going to get to the worst parts of the game for me, and that's going to be progression. This is an RPG, so missions and weapons are restricted until certain levels, so you have to grind out the repetitive missions to unlock those, but they included an extra step. In order to unlock the different tiers of abilities in the skill trees, you have to complete side missions. This is the one thing that they force you to do, and I hate it so much. You either search temples for scrolls, pray at shrines, or meditate via QuickTime events. These are not fun side activities, and being forced to do these to unlock new levels in the skill tree, instead of just unlocking them as we reach higher levels, it doesn't feel like natural progression. To the point where I just stopped doing them. I don't know what the last level of abilities are, because when I saw I had to do 15 more of these, I said fuck no, I'm not doing it. So I beat the game without them. And if you didn't notice it yet, we haven't talked about the story. But unfortunately, it's in this category for one of the worst things about this game, but not for the reason that you think. My enjoyment with this story was like a roller coaster. I got some peaks of enjoyment, and then I just didn't care for a couple more hours, and then repeat that cycle. But after I beat the game and all of the story arcs tied up and everything was revealed, I liked it a lot. It made me realize it's not the story I didn't like, but I hate the way that they told it. That's why it's in this category. I said earlier the open mission structure hurts the game more than it helps it. Yeah, it hurts it the most narratively. Because a player can do missions in any order and the game doesn't unlock missions in a linear fashion like most story games do, they can't make any of the main 12 missions be too important. So they feel boring with low stakes. And because they throw so many missions at you constantly, you'll just randomly pick a side mission and that'll contain critical backstory for one of the characters, and it's so interesting and fun, and it made me sit up and pay attention. Yasuke's missions are really well done. He's such a cool and well-written character, and they handle his story with a lot of care. But the really good and interesting missions are spaced out and feel so random. There's a mission in the game that contains honestly the biggest piece of information. Why there's even an assassin brotherhood in Japan, and how they got here. This mission has the entire context for why you're even playing this game, and it's in an optional fucking side mission. I only even selected it because it was the closest mission to me at that time and I wanted to level up. The final mission for this game doesn't even feel like a final mission. When the credits came up, I was kinda shocked. The game ends really abruptly. It didn't even feel like a big payoff after a build-up. It plays out like a normal mission and then the credits roll. So yeah, it's a cool story. I see the vision and what they were trying to do, but it's a typical Ubisoft game in the aspect that they show you the potential for something great, a cool concept, and then they fumble it by having poor execution. This game's story deserves its own video, which I will make in the future, so subscribe to my second channel where I go more in-depth about games. So for me, this feels like a sidestep to Assassin's Creed Mirage rather than a step up. It does some things better, but it also does a lot of things worse. I don't think this game is as bad as some people make it out to be, but I also don't think it's a 9 or 10 masterpiece like others are saying. For me, it's in the middle. The things it does well are really good, but the things it does poorly are pretty bad. So it's a typical Ubisoft game. I would know. I've been playing their games the last 12 years. So can I recommend this game? If you like the old Assassin's Creed games, absolutely not. This is an Assassin's Creed game, and the word Templar isn't said until after 40 to 50 hours. For reasons which I won't spoil, so because of that, the only thing that makes this feel like an Assassin's Creed game up until that point is the fact that you have a hidden blade and can assassinate people. But if you like the RPG trilogy, you might enjoy this. You trilogy fans have a way higher tolerance for these longer games that you can put hundreds of hours into, and that is exactly this game. But if anything, I say wait for it to go on sale, better yet, wait for the DLC bundle, because between now and when that DLC releases, they plan to do a lot of needed quality of life patches and updates. So if you play the game, what do you think about it? You can let me know in the comments down below. And as usual, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.